Good afternoon, dear friends. Here I am present with a new video. This video is about the economic effects of the US tariffs on the US and on India, and also the economic effects of deportation from America to various countries, including India. Right. So I started. I start with what will be the effects of deportation and imposing reciprocal tariffs on the US, and then I will summarize that what will be the effect of those steps on India. See, if the US puts tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on India, so the US tariffs will have to go grow almost 3.5 fold, because the average US tariffs on the Indian goods is about 2.65%, whereas the average tariff on the US goods imposed by India is 9.5. So you see, the tariffs imposed by India is very high. These are the average tariffs. In some cases, they may extend up to 100%, like in the case of importing cars from the US. So on the semi-knockdown kits, or I think cars which cost less than 30,000 or 40,000, it is something like that. The tariff is about 70%, and on finished cars and costing about 40,000, it is I think 100%. So very few cars come in India. You can count on your fingers, right? That is those cars which are new cars, fully built units. Sometimes knockdown units come in the shape of second-hand cars, which are assembled in India and then sold in India, right? But the volume is very low due to very high tariffs. So tariff may range from say 5% to 50%, but the average tariff is the total number of goods imported and the total tariff imposed on them. So suppose in 2023-24, India exported goods worth around 87 billion dollars to America in the financial year 2023-24. Our financial year starts from 1st April of any year and ends on 31st March of the subsequent year, right? So our total exports were 87 billion. So America imposed approximately $2 billion on that. And the goods which were imported in India, India imported about 9.5-10% tariffs on the goods imported from America. So you see, if the US imposes the reciprocal tariff on Indian goods, the tariffs will have to go very high. It will have some debilitating effect. Like first, the goods going from India to the US will become costlier. So it will stoke inflation there. Though the quantity is not so much as compared to the total imports by the US, the Indian imports don't even constitute 10%. But anyway, it will stoke inflation. And the tariffs will be imposed on all the countries which have high tariffs, so it will stoke rather good amount of inflation. In my opinion, the inflation effect will be that the it might go up 1 to 1.5% within a year, right? So this inflation will keep the interest rates higher for longer, until unless the inflation cools down. And if interest rates remain higher for longer, it will have two effects. First, the growth will be lower, and second, the dollar index might surge due to high interest rates. And the surge in dollar index will adversely affect emerging markets as the capital will start flowing out of the emerging markets to the US, which is happening currently, right? So the growth will be down, and The second effect it will have, that the higher tariffs will make the US economy less competitive, because hiding behind the tariff walls, even some inefficiencies uh, will some inefficient manufacturing might crop up in USA. But as far as the goods which go from India, they have mm, low elasticity of demand. It means that even if the prices go up, the imports will not go down too much, because there are two reasons for that. Because the goods which go from India to the US, about 80% of them are essential. So if the prices go up, they will go up on higher prices, right? And secondly, the in goods which go from India, it is very hard to replace from any other world, and it takes time in any country for the manufacturing to come up. And the goods which India exports, I think they will not be Americans will not be able to manufacture them at the same price at any cost. They will be twice as costlier, thrice as costlier if made in America. I'll summarize the goods which go to the US from India. In the financial year 2023-24, diamonds worth 10.2 billion went from India to the US. And see, if the even the imports which the US is making from India, even if they go down, they are hard to replace by any other country, because cutting and polishing and then fitting those diamonds into a necklace is a very labor intensive and skilled. It is a very skilled job, and these skilled cannot be acquired overnight. And even if they are acquired, it will be very very hard to replicate the same cost structure at the cost at which they are made in India. The second are medicine, appliances, and accessories. Now you will be amazed that how India is exporting medical appliances and accessories to the United States. So we export to US low value added items like surgical disposables, surgical face masks, bandages, absorbent gauze, surgical caps, surgical gloves, and other products. And also we export a lot of generic medicines. Generic medicines are those medicines which go off patent, and and the company manufacturing them does not have to pay any royalty to the parent company who had discovered the drug. So it will be very hard for America to replicate the manufacturing which is done in India. Similarly, agriculture products, they are exported to the tune of 450 million annually. In the year 2023-24, 450 million worth of agriculture products were exported. So these will be exported anyway. Refined petroleum products were exported to the tune of $5 billion. This may happen that the US refineries, like, they perk up their production of finished products, and the finished products are imported in lesser quantities. So it won't affect India, because India will then start exporting to those finished petroleum products to other markets such as Europe and many other markets. Similarly, rice. India exported $1 billion worth of rice in financial year 23-24 to America. Indian basmati rice is very famous, and it is very difficult to grow in any other region due to climatic condition that will be imported by America anyhow. Similarly, is the case for textiles and apparels and automotive components. Same case, India is a very good supplier of automotive components worldwide. You see, if the car is made in any country by any company, half of the car is made outside, like tires, windshield, and everything. And Indian companies are very competitive at making those, so those will be imported anyhow. And then there are chemicals worth $600 million, machinery $550 million. So this is how the story goes. India exports about $87 billion worth of products. So those will be imported. Only the only thing happens that the products will become dearer, inflationary in America, and it will increase the cost of the products. And similarly, the case with deportation, as India, as the US start deporting other nationals which have come without due legal procedure, it will make US economy very highly uncompetitive. Because what happens, those who reach to US only, although I'm not saying it's a good practice, it is a very bad practice to enter any country illegally through the donkey route or through any other route, but those people are very very talented. You see, it is very difficult to relocate from one city to another city in the home country, and going from third world country to the country like US, it takes a lot of strength, courage, and more moral force, and a lot of fortitude. And the Indians, those who have reached there, and they will come back, they do all sorts of jobs at very very minimum wages, and the wages will go up as the deportees are deported to all over the world, right? So this is, and the fourth effect which the US will have to face, that although if India does not levy and any reciprocal duties, other countries will put reciprocal duties on American imports in their countries. So that way, the trade will be affected, two-way trade. Whatever gains we have made in free trade through the WTO, those gains will slowly start perishing. See, there are three main pillars of growth in any country: uh, consumption, investment, and trade. So one of the pillars out of the three pillars will be affected badly. So it will affect the world growth rate. There will be two good things from these erecting the tariff walls and non-tariff walls by the US administration around the US. Some manufacturing over the long term may come back to the US. The US companies in countries like China, Canada, Mexico, they may come back and set up their bases, manufacturing bases in America. So in the long run, there is a chance that those companies may come back to America and start manufacturing, but that will not be done on a very large scale, like uh, the goods which are imported. Even if 10%, 15% of that is replaced and starts getting manufactured in America, then it will be a very good thing. Nothing more than this happen. One very good thing will happen. It will generate a new revenue stream for America, and it may uh, generate revenues to the tune of from 100 billion to $250 billion annually, which will be very good for the deficit to bring down, and it will be very good for the America whose debt is like internal debt is ballooning, so that it will help in bringing down the debt. Although in the last 5 years the debt has come down marginally, I think it has come down by 5 percentage points over the last 5 years. So that the process of that debt, national debt getting reduced will become faster, which will be good for the American economy. On the whole, like comparing the pros and cons, it will not be good for the American economy. The growth will be slower, the competitiveness will be lost, and it will affect the whole world, right? And what will be the effect on India? See, there will be two main effects. The direct exports to the America may diminish marginally, say by 10%, 15% over the 2 years. But what will happen, that as the US imposes tariffs on other countries, the manufacturing may come to India as India emerges as a China plus one, EU plus one, Canada plus one, Mexico plus one destination. Because here in India, the wages are very low, cost of capital is bit higher, but the wages and everything else, like the purchasing power of everything is so low that companies will be compelled to set up manufacturing bases in India to export to the US. And also in India, India is a large domestic market. So any company which say sets a base comes from Vietnam to here. In Vietnam, what happens? They have to export about 90% of their manufactured products because the market is very tiny. So from the very first day, there should be a market abroad when the company is opened in some very small market. In India, what is the advantage? That the production can be done at a very high scale, which brings down the unit cost down due to the economies of scale. Well, India is a very huge market, and that from day one make the import exports competitive. So, in my opinion, considering these two things, India will be beneficial. For India, it will be beneficial in the long run. In the long run, I mean after say 2 years, when the dust settles on this on all this tariff war or the tariff wars which will be erected now starting from April, in my opinion, over the period of 1 year. After 2 3 years, when the dust settles, India will emerge far more stronger as far as trade is concerned. And if India, in the meanwhile, does some domestic reforms for which I'll make another video, India will keep emerging as the fastest growing economy and a key economic star in the current scenario. With this, I stop the video. If you like my video, then you like it, subscribe it, share it, and give any comment which you have to make. Thank you once more. Bye.